Hello everyone, this is my report, Probation Rules Chapter 4. Contents of Post-Sentence Investigation Report. The contents of PCIK are follows Probation Rules 2014 Section 24. Number 1. The circumstances surrounding the crime or offense for which the applicant was convicted and sentenced, taken from the applicant himself, offended party, and others who might have knowledge of the commission of the crime or offense, and pertinent information taken from the police and other law enforcement agencies, if any, and trial court records. Number 2. The details of other criminal records, if any. 3. Personal circumstances, educational, economical, and socio-civic, and data and information about the applicant. Number 4. The characteristic of applicant, employable skill, employment history, collateral information. Number 5. The evaluation and analysis of the applicant's suitability and legal capacity of probation and his potential for rehabilitation, reform, development, transformation, and reintegration into the community. 6. Recommendation 2. Grant the applicant, including probation period, probation conditions, and probation treatment and supervision plan program, or deny the application. Number 7. Data and information on the applicant's financial condition and capacity to pay his civil liability, if any. Number 8. The results of finding of drugs, psychological, and clinical tests conducted, if any. The results of criminal records, if any, whether decided or still pending, furnished by various law enforcement agencies staffed by the probation office for such purpose. The result of courtesy investigation, if any, conducted in the birthplace or place of origin of the applicant, especially if he plans to reside there while on probation, if ever his application will be granted. And last, other analogs and related matters. Full-blown courtesy investigation. The full-blown courtesy investigation is a general courtesy investigation from another provincial parole and probation office which requests for a complete PCIR on a petition for probation pending referral investigation in the probation office of origin. It can take place if upon the initial investigation it is gathered that Probation Rules 2014 Section 27. Number 1. The applicant for probation is a transit offender in the place of commission of the crime and a permanent resident of another place. 2. The applicant spent his pre-adolescent and adolescent life in the province of city of origin. 3. The applicant attended and finished his education track. And 4. The applicant's immediate family members, collateral informants, or disinterested person and official who can best authenticate the inter-family relationship, upbringing, behavior of the applicant for probation in the community are residents of the place of his origin. Probation orders. Probation is a mere privilege, and its grant or denial rests solely the applicant for probation is a transit offender in the place of commission of the crime and a permanent resident of another place. 2. The applicant spent his pre-adolescent and adolescent life in the province of city of origin. 3. The applicant attended and finished his education track. And 4. The applicant's immediate family members, collateral informants, or disinterested person and official who can best authenticate the inter-family relationship, upbringing, behavior of the applicant for probation in the community are residents of the place of his origin. Probation order. Probation is a mere privilege, and its grant or denial rests solely upon the sound of this creation of the trial court. The grant of probation has the effect of suspending the execution of sentences. The trial court shall order the release of the probationer's cash or property bond upon which he was allowed temporary liberty, as well as release the custodian on release on recognizance from undertaken Probation Rules 2014 Section 32AB. The application for probation must be resolved by the trial court not later than 15 days from the date of receipt of PCIR Probation Rules 2014 Section 31. A probation order shall take effect upon its issuance, at which time the court shall inform the offender of the consequence thereof, and explain that upon his failure to comply with any of the conditions prescribed in the said order, or his commission of another offense under which he was placed on probation rule 2014 section 33. Upon receipt of the probation order granting or denying probation, it must be entered in a docket book for proper recording. The order of the court granting or denying probation shall not be appealable. Probation Rules 2014 Section 34. Terms and conditions of probation. Here are the mandatory conditions that a probationer must be met during the probation period. Probation Rules 2014 Section 35. Number 1. To present himself to the probation office for supervision within 72 hours from receipt of said order. 2. To report to the assigned parole and pardon office, SPOO, SRPPO, PPO2, or PPO1 on the case at least once a month during the period of probation at such time and place as may be specified by the probation office. The other condition of probation are as follows. Probation Rules 2014 Section 36. To cooperate with his program of probation treatment and supervision. To meet his family responsibilities. To devote himself to a specific employment and not to change said employment without prior written approval for the CPPO. Number 4. To undergo medical or psychological or clinical or drug or psychiatry examination and treatment and remain in a specified institution when required for the purpose. Number 5. To comply with the program of payment of civil liability to the offended party and its decision or resolution. 6. To pursue a prescribed secular study or vocational training. 7. To attend or reside in a facility established for instruction, recreation, or residence or person on probation. 8. To refrain from visiting houses of ill repute. 9. To abstain from drinking intoxicating beverages to excess. 10. To permit the supervising probation officer on case or unauthorized social workers to visit his home and place at work. 11. To reside premises approved by the trial court and not to change his residence without prior written approval of said court. And 12. To satisfy any other conditions related to his rehabilitation into a useful citizen which is not unduly restricted of his liberty or incompatible with his freedom of conscience. Supervision of probationer. Supervision of probationer involved monitoring the actual behavior of clients, offenders, and compliance with all the conditions of their temporary liberty as implemented in the supervision process. Supervision service shall commence of the day of initial interview or reporting of a probationer. Probationer Rules 2014 Section 38. Objectives of probation supervision. The primary purpose of probation supervision are Probation Rules 2014 Section 38. 1. To ensure the probationer compliance with the probation conditions specified in the probation order and the prescribed probation treatment and supervision program plan. 2. To manage the process of the probationer or rehabilitation and reintegration into the community and to provide guidance for the probation transformation and development into a useful citizen for his eventual reintegration to the mainstream of society. Levels of supervision. There are 3 supervision or level of supervision: the maximum, medium, and minimum supervision. Maximum supervision. This requires personal contact of at least once a week with the provisional parole, including at least a once a month report in person at the probation office to attend to the ladderized therapeutic community program. This also requires multiple services for the probation office and the community resources available. The probation officers provide their clients with services such as employment assistance, vocational training, educational medical assistance, and seed money for livelihood activities and home industries. The medium supervision. This requires once a month personal contact with the probationer, parole attendants of the therapeutic community ladderized program, and few services from the probation office and or community resources. Minimum supervision. This requires once a month personal contact and attendance of the therapeutic community ladderized program. Outside travel during probation. A probation officer may authorize a probationer to travel outside his area of operational territorial jurisdiction for a period of more than 10 days but not exceeding 30 days. If the request outside travel is for more than 30 days, said request shall be recommended by the CPPO and submitted of the trial court for the approval. Outside travel for cumulative during of more than 30 days within a period of 6 months shall be considered as a courtesy supervision. A probationer who seeks to travel for up to 30 days outside the operation or territorial jurisdiction of the probation office shall file at least 5 days before the intended travel schedule a request for outside travel of PPA Form 7 with said office properly recommended by the supervising probation officer on case and approved by the CPPO probationer or probation rules 2014 section 41. Change of resident during probation. A probationer may file a request for change of residence of PPA Form 24 with the City of Provisional Parole and Probation Office. Citing the reason therefore, this request shall be submitted by the Supervising Probation Office for the approval of the trial court. It gets approved, the supervision and control over the probationer shall be transferred to the concerned executive judge of the RTC, having jurisdiction and control over said probationer and under the supervision of the city or provincial parole and probation office in the place to which he transfer. The receiving city of provincial and parole and probation office and the receiving court shall be duly furnished each with copies of the pertinent probation order, PCIR or PPA Form 3, and other investigation and supervision records by the pending probation office for purposes and in aid of continuing effective probation supervision treatment over said probationer. Probation Rule 2014 Section 41. Thank you and God bless everyone.